Deep space was silent, but the silence felt wrong, like something terrible was hiding inside it. Broken ships floated across the battlefield, their metal bodies torn open like dead animals. Human flags drifted in zero gravity, burnt and faded. Sparks flashed from torn wires. Bodies, human and alien, spun slowly in the cold void. In the middle of this graveyard, a human man floated unconscious, his suit cracked, his oxygen fading. His name was Elias Ward, a simple engineer, not a soldier. He never expected to be part of a war between alien empires. He only came to repair communication systems on the ship Helios Dawn. But the ship never reached its mission point. Something attacked them, something huge, fast, and unseen. Elias remembered bright purple light. He remembered screaming and metal ripping apart. Then everything turned black. Now his body drifted deeper into the empty battlefield, until a shadow covered him. A massive shape blocked the stars, like a living wall. It was a ship, but not made of steel. Its surface looked like bones covered in glowing veins. The ship was silent, alive, breathing. A beam of violet light wrapped around Elias, and before he could wake, he vanished. When Elias opened his eyes, he was lying on a cold stone floor. The air tasted sharp, like metal and strange perfume mixed together. The room was huge, larger than a human stadium. The walls pulsed with purple veins, glowing like arteries of a sleeping beast. Every sound echoed. He tried to move, but his limbs were weak. The moment he sat up, he saw her. A tall figure stood across the chamber. Not tall like a human, tall like a legend. She was at least 20 feet high, her body shaped like a powerful woman but built with alien grace. Her skin was dark silver, smooth like polished obsidian. Her hair flowed like liquid starlight. 6 glowing eyes stared down at him, full of ancient grief and power. She wore a cloak made of long tendrils that moved like living cloth. Elias froze. His heart beat so loud he could hear it echo. He whispered, terrified, Where am I?" The giant alien woman took one step forward. The ground vibrated. Her voice did not come from her mouth. It entered his mind, soft and cold. "You are safe, human." Elias felt a sharp pain behind his eyes, like someone was searching his memories. He grabbed his head. Get out of my mind!" The alien woman stopped, surprised, as if no one had ever resisted her before. Her 6 eyes narrowed with interest. Then she spoke again, this time as a whisper that shook his bones. "You will father children of power." Elias's blood turned to ice. "What? No, I'm not here for that. I didn't agree to anything. Take me back." She lowered herself to one knee, her face close enough that he could feel the heat of her breath like a furnace. "Your body carries the potential. Your species evolves under pressure. You are the key to survival." Elias shook his head, trembling. "Survival? Survival of who?" A long silence filled the chamber. The alien woman looked up at the ceiling, eyes glowing faint blue, like she was remembering a past full of death. Finally, she spoke with pain hidden behind power. "My empire is dead." The walls displayed floating images, entire galaxies burning, colossal cities swallowed by dark swarms of living shadows. Millions of ships fought, but everything fell to an enemy that looked like moving storms of teeth and void. Elias watched in horror. What are those things?" She stepped back, voice trembling. "The devourer swarm. They consume stars, planets, bloodlines. We fought them for 50,000 years. We lost." Elias felt small, powerless, like a child standing before history. "But why me? Why humans?" he whispered. She lowered her head, something almost like shame filling her voice. "Your kind is the only species whose DNA resists their corruption. Our science is dying.
Our bodies are sterile. The Valmirian bloodline ends with me. She placed a hand, large enough to crush a tank, on the floor beside him. Not threatening, begging. I am the last widow. I do not ask for a slave. I ask for a partner. A future. Elias felt his fear shift into confusion. He expected a monster. Instead, he found sorrow. But still, he stepped back. You could have asked. You didn't have to take me. The widow's 6 eyes flickered. Would your leaders have agreed? Elias looked away. Earth feared aliens. They did not trust anyone beyond their own sky. She leaned closer, her voice soft like sadness and wind. Humanity's destiny is larger than Earth. You will shape it. You will not be alone. Before Elias could answer, alarms echoed through the living walls. The chamber lights turned crimson. The widow stood up immediately, her body glowing with power. Her final whisper was not gentle, it was fear. The swarm has found us. And the room shook as something massive struck the ship from outside. The hunt had begun.
The entire chamber shook like a thunderstorm trapped inside metal bones. Walls pulsed red, energy veins flashed like lightning. A deep roar echoed through the living ship. Not mechanical, but alive, angry, afraid. Elias tried to stand but fell to his knees. What's happening? The giant widow turned toward the ceiling, all 6 of her eyes burning gold. Her voice shook through the air. The swarm followed us through the star fold. They hunger. She stretched her arms wide. Armor formed over her skin like growing crystal plates. A crown of glowing horns rose from her head, turning her from a grieving queen into a war goddess. Elias stared. So, those monsters, they're real? They're here? She did not answer. She simply walked toward a massive door that opened like a living jaw. Elias followed, limping, heart racing. Inside the heart of the ship. The corridor was huge, like a cathedral. Strange alien runes floated mid-air, shifting color with every heartbeat. The ship felt alive, scared, as if it remembered old wars. Creatures moved around them, tall silver guardians with 4 arms and glowing spears. They bowed as the widow passed. One guardian spoke, voice sharp like metal cutting stone. Matriarch, the swarm breached the outer light shield. We cannot hold long. Her voice turned calm and commanding. Protect the human. He is priority. Every guardian lowered their heads in obedience. Elias frowned. Why am I so important? I'm just an engineer. I fix wires. I don't fight wars. She stopped walking. The hallway grew silent. She looked down at him with a mixture of sadness and hope. You think you are ordinary. That is why you were chosen. Elias blinked, confused. That makes no sense. She lifted one hand, and a holographic star map exploded across the corridor. Thousands of galaxies, millions of worlds. Most of them were marked with red scars. My people ruled this sky for 100,000 years. Her voice broke slightly. We controlled space, time, and life itself. We thought we were unbreakable. The map zoomed in. A storm-like black void spread across the galaxies like ink. Images changed, planets melting, star cores drained, species screaming as darkness ate their bodies from inside. Elias whispered, horrified, "How do you fight something like that?" She closed her eyes. With sacrifice. We burned suns, we broke worlds, we killed our own queens to feed bioweapons. She looked away, ashamed, and we still lost. Why humans matter? The projection shifted to Earth.
a small blue world, tiny compared to cosmic empires. But your world, she whispered. Your species evolved under death, heat, war, struggle, pain, shaped your blood. Images appeared. Humans walking through firestorms, soldiers fighting impossible battles, families surviving plagues, disasters, extinctions. Humans adapt faster than any species known. Your DNA resists corruption. Elias felt a chill. So, you want hybrids? Half human, half Valmirian? She shook her head. Not hybrids. Heirs. The next defenders of the galaxy. Elias stepped back. I never signed up for this. You're asking me to create a super species. Her expression softened. Not asking, hoping. The last widow. They entered a huge chamber filled with giant stasis tubes, thousands of empty cradles, each large enough to hold a spaceship. All dark, all dead. Elias swallowed hard. What happened to your people? She placed her hand on a silent cradle. I carried 3 sons and 4 daughters across 10,000 years. Her voice trembled. For a giant, she sounded small. A moment passed. Only the humming of ancient machines filled the air. Elias whispered, sincerely, I'm sorry. She nodded slowly, like someone too tired to cry. I am the last matriarch. When I die, my lineage dies. My world dies. The galaxy loses its last shield. Her eyes met his. I need life, Elias Ward, not dominion. Elias took a long breath. But why choose me? There are billions of humans. She reached toward him, not touching, just close enough to feel her warmth. Because you chose to repair ships instead of destroying them. Because you value life. Because your mind resisted me. Elias didn't know whether to feel honored or terrified. Swarm approaches. Warning alarms thundered again. The ship trembled violently. A voice echoed through the chamber. Matriarch, enemy breach on 3rd hull. They tear through layers. For the first time, Elias saw fear in her eyes. She grabbed a glowing spear taller than a human tank. Stay behind me. If they reach you, we lose everything. Elias clenched his fists. No, I won't hide. Give me something to fight with. She looked at him, surprised. You are not trained. You are fragile. Elias stepped forward, voice steady. Maybe, but I'm still human. Her 6 eyes widened, not in anger, but respect. She handed him a small orb. It opened like a flower, wrapping around his arm, forming living armor. Elias gasped as the suit fused with his skin, glowing with power. The widow whispered, Then stand with me, partner of fate. The walls burst open, and swirling black creatures crawled inside, screaming like dying stars. The first battle began.
The first wave of the swarm crashed into the chamber like a storm of knives. They were not animals. They were not machines. They were something in between, living darkness with long limbs, mouths like black holes, and bodies that shifted shape as they moved. Their screams felt like claws ripping at the mind, not the ears. Elias held his arm, feeling the alien armor pulse with energy. It felt alive, like it had a heartbeat of its own. The widow stepped forward, her massive body glowing with power. She swung her spear once, releasing a blast of violet light that shredded half the swarm in an instant. But more crawled from the walls, from cracks, from shadows. The ship itself cried out, metal bones creaking like a dying beast. Elias raised his arm and the armor reacted. A shield formed, blocking a blast of dark energy. The impact sent him sliding back across the ground, but he stayed standing.
The widow looked down at him with a spark of approval. "You learned fast for a fragile being." Elias breathed hard. "Humans are used to being punched by the universe." She crushed another swarm beast with a stomp. "Humans break easily." He smirked, wiping blood from his lip. "Humans get back up." The psychic trial begins. After minutes of fighting, the chamber sealed itself. The swarm retreated for now, leaving black ash and torn flesh across the floor. The widow turned to Elias, her voice suddenly serious. "To stand with me, you must prove your mind is strong. Your body adapts, but your spirit must not collapse." Elias frowned. "You mean like a test?" Her eyes glowed bright turquoise. "A trial, the trial of ancestral memory." He stepped back. "What happens if I fail?" She didn't hesitate. "Your mind will burn. Your body will die." Elias stared at her silently. "So I don't have a choice?" Her tone softened. "You always have a choice. Walk away and I will protect you myself." Then her voice darkened. "But without you, the galaxy will fall." Elias closed his eyes. He didn't know if he was brave or stupid, but he stepped forward. "Do it." Entering the widow's mind. The widow placed one massive fingertip on Elias's forehead. A shockwave of cold light rushed through him. Suddenly, he was no longer standing on metal floors. He was floating in a cosmic ocean made of memories. He saw a Valmirian queen battling the swarm alone in orbit, wings of energy spread across a star. Millions bowing to her as she sacrificed her own heart to power an ancient weapon. 1,000 children born in war, dying one by one. Worlds burning, ships turning to bone ash. The widow screaming in grief as her last son fell. Each memory hit like a hammer. Each death felt like his own. Elias dropped to his knees in the memory realm, gripping his head. "No more! Stop!" But the visions continued, drowning him. Millions dead, billions lost, whole civilizations fading into nothingness. The widow's pain was endless, an ocean of suffering that stretched across eternity. Most species would have surrendered their minds by now. Most would have gone insane. Elias screamed, but then something changed. He stopped trying to escape the pain, and he faced it. He stood slowly, eyes full of fire. "You suffered alone for so long," he whispered into the void. "No one should carry that alone." A new vision formed, not from the widow, but from him. Earth. Human battles, human losses, human victories. Humans were powerful because they endured. A voice echoed across the memory realm, not the widow's, but his. "We fight together. That's how we win." The vision shattered like glass. Accepted as equal. Elias snapped back into the chamber, gasping for air. Smoke rose from his armor. Blood ran from his nose and eyes, but he was alive. The widow stared at him with shock. No mortal has ever survived full memory transfer. Elias wiped his face. "I'm not immortal. I'm just human." She lowered herself slowly, in a gesture no Valmirian ever gave, not even to their own people. A bow. A true bow. Then humanity is stronger than legends. Elias stepped back, overwhelmed. "Wait a minute, are you bowing to me?" Her 6 eyes glowed. "Not bowing, respecting. You are not my subject. You are an equal." A new title. The ship announced in a deep voice. "Designation updated. Human has passed the trial. Recording new rank." Symbols appeared in the air, forming words Elias could understand. "First human consort general." Elias blinked. "What does that even mean?" The widow answered softly. "It means you command with me. You fight beside me. You shape the future with me." Elias took a deep breath. "No more forced destiny. No more secrets. We make decisions together." The widow nodded slowly. "Together." A new threat approaches. The wall screens lit up, showing dozens of swarm ships surrounding us, more than before. The widow stood tall again, spear blazing with power. They come again. Elias clenched his fist, armor pulsing. Good. I need payback. The widow's voice lowered, almost like a smile. Now you speak like a warrior. The battle was not over. It had only begun.
The swarm ships did not stay silent for long. Outside the alien vessel, dark shapes circled like hungry birds around a dying beast. Their hulls looked like rotting bone wrapped in shadows, pulsing with sick energy. They fired beams of void light, tearing through space like claws ripping fabric. The widow raised her spear, and shimmering shields formed around her ship. Elias stood beside her, armor glowing bright with living power. But this time, they did not fight to win. They fought to escape. The widow pressed her palm against the ship's core, speaking in a voice deeper than sound. Starfold, now. The entire ship twisted, space bending like soft glass. Reality stretched, snapped, and then silence. The battlefield was gone. Elias fell to his knees as everything stabilized. What just happened? The widow's eyes dimmed with exhaustion. We jumped across 13 star systems. The swarm will follow soon. He looked around, realizing something important. For the first time, he saw stars he recognized. Earth's region of space. Human territory. He felt both fear and hope rise inside him. Arrival at Earth. Within hours, alarms rang across human colonies and fleet stations. Massive sensors detected the alien biovessel entering orbit, dwarfing every human ship. Earth launched defense fleets, missiles armed, lasers charged. Panic spread across the system. Elias stood at the widow's side, looking down at his home planet, a blue jewel surrounded by steel and fear. His voice cracked softly. I never thought I'd see it again. The widow observed Earth with her 6 eyes, expression unreadable. Beautiful, wild, untamed. Her tone held respect, not superiority, respect. She opened a communication channel with Earth's command stations, projecting a hologram of herself across their screens. The room on Earth filled with screams and confusion as the 20-foot alien queen appeared in front of generals and presidents. The widow spoke calmly, her voice echoing across every human capital. People of Earth, we come with warning, not conquest. Missiles remained locked, guns pointed. No one lowered their guard. A human general shouted, "What do you want from us?" Elias stepped forward, face shown beside the widow. This is not an invasion. I was taken. I survived. I returned. A brief silence spread. Humanity is in danger. A galaxy-wide enemy is coming. Earth responds with fear. The Human Council gathered in emergency meeting. Leaders argued. Some shouted, "Aliens kidnapped a citizen. This is a trap. We should destroy that ship." Others said, "This might be our only chance. If this enemy exists, we can't fight alone." Elias listened, frustrated. These people don't understand. They're afraid. The widow looked at him softly. Fear is natural for those who still have something to lose. Elias stands his ground. The human leaders demanded conditions. No genetic experiments, no breeding programs, no alien authority over humans. Elias faced the widow privately. I will not let humanity become property. If we fight together, it must be as equals. Her eyes narrowed, not in anger, but disbelief. Your species is young, yet you demand respect as if you have ruled galaxies? Elias met her gaze without fear. We don't bow, not to aliens, not to fate. The widow stared at him for a long moment. Then she lowered her head. Very well. Equality. Alliance.
not empire. The alliance was formed. Earth sent diplomats, scientists, and soldiers to the Valmirian ship. In return, the Widow shared advanced knowledge. Starfold travel maps, energy-forged armor, biotech healing systems, cosmic swarm defense plans. Humans, despite their fear, adapted quickly. The Widow watched in awe as human engineers learned in days what other species struggled to learn in centuries. "Your kind learns like wildfire," she whispered. Elias smiled. "We learn to survive a hostile planet. The galaxy is just a bigger test." The first mixed fleet. Soon a new fleet was formed. Human star cruisers upgraded with Valmirian reactors, giant Valmirian war titans escorted by human hunter ships, shared command between Elias and the matriarch. Humans and aliens trained together, though not without tension. Some humans still feared being controlled, and some Valmirian warriors hated serving beside a small, fragile mammal. During a combat exercise, a Valmirian soldier mocked Elias. "You lead armies? You should lead livestock." Elias didn't argue. He simply picked up a training weapon and challenged her. He lost the first round, badly. He stood again. He lost the second round, coughing blood. He stood again. He lost the third round. The Widow finally stepped in. "Enough! He is your leader!" But Elias raised a hand. "No! Let me answer myself." On the fourth round, while his armor bled energy, Elias learned her pattern and used a move no Valmirian expected. Dirty, human improvisation. He swept her legs, pinned her, weapon against her throat. The soldiers fell silent. He panted, exhausted. "Humans don't win clean. We win because we refuse to stay down." Even the Widow smiled. Something rare and ancient. A new warfront. Just as unity settled, sensors screamed. Swarm signatures appeared in deep space. Dozens of ships, then hundreds, heading straight for Earth. The Widow stepped toward the fleet window, eyes cold. "They come to erase your world." Elias stood beside her, armor glowing brighter than before. "Then we fight as one." The alliance was no longer a theory. It was war.
Alarms screamed across the Terran Valmirian flagship. Red lights flashed like beating hearts. Massive screens showed the swarm armada moving through space like a storm of black fire. Their ships were not built, they were grown, twisted flesh wrapped in void energy, each one shaped like a nightmare given life. Thousands of them. Human commanders froze. Valmirian warriors sharpened bone-forged weapons. Civilians across Earth held their breath. The attack had begun. Elias stood beside the Widow at the command bridge, armored in living biotech. His pulse matched the heartbeat of the ship. He stared at the incoming wave. "We can't let them reach Earth." The Widow nodded, eyes glowing bright white. "We will meet them in the void." The fleet launched. The battle begins. Human warships moved first, fast, aggressive, unpredictable. They fired rail cannons and plasma beams, tearing holes through the first wave of swarmlings. Valmirian titans followed, slow but unstoppable. Their ships unleashed beams of violet energy that sliced through entire clusters at once. The space around them shimmered like shattered glass. Elias stood in command formation, sending tactical commands through Neuralink. "Human ships, break formation and flank left. Valmirian titans, channel energy fields forward. Do not let them surround us." For a moment, they pushed the swarm back. But then the real threat arrived. A massive shadow blocked the stars. A single swarm dread titan, larger than a moon, entered the battlefield. Its body was made of pulsing black organs, and its mouth looked like a planet-sized wound. Earth shook from orbit.
Elias whispered, "That thing could eat a city." The widow's voice hardened. "It consumed 3 suns in my lifetime." Elias faces the swarm. Suddenly, enemy creatures teleported onto their flagship. Claws ripped through hull plates. Warriors screamed. The ship shook from inside. The widow leaped into battle like a storm of cosmic fire, spear tearing through monsters. Elias fought beside her, his armor reacting to every movement. He blocked a creature's claws, then punched it through a wall. His armor crackled with blue energy, brighter with each attack. More creatures swarmed him, biting into his shoulders, ripping at flesh. Elias screamed but stayed standing. "Come on, I'm not dying here." His armor pulsed, and a shockwave blasted them away. The widow looked at him with surprise. "Your power grows." Elias wiped blood from his face. "I'm still alive. That's enough." The turning point. The battle outside worsened. Human destroyers exploded one by one. Valmirian titans were crushed by shadow tendrils. Earth's orbit burned. The swarm dread titan charged a massive void beam aimed at Earth. Millions would die. Elias stared, breath shaking. He could not watch his planet burn. He slammed his fist against the controls. "We need to stop that beam!" The widow looked at him deeply, voice heavy. "Only a matriarch can create a star spear strong enough." Elias met her eyes. "Then make me one." She froze. "You are not Valmirian." "No," Elias said, stepping closer. "I'm human, and humans change everything we touch." The widow placed her hand on his chest. Her energy flowed into him like liquid fire. A ritual began, ancient, forbidden, meant for royal bloodlines. Symbols burned across Elias's armor. His eyes glowed like miniature galaxies. The widow whispered, with power and sadness, "Not father of children, father of a new era." Elias stepped into open space, armor holding him like a second skin. He floated between stars. The swarm dread titan roared at him, its body opening like a black sun. He raised his hands. Energy flooded out, white, blue, purple, fusing human strength with ancient alien power. He became a living starburst, burning brighter and brighter until even swarm ships recoiled. Earth watched in silence. The widow whispered across the telepathic link, "Strike Elias Ward." And he did. He unleashed a beam of pure cosmic fury. Not tech, not magic, not alien. Human power evolved. The beam tore through the dread titan's core. Its body exploded into cosmic ash, echoing across space like thunder. The entire battlefield stopped.